Hello everyone, it's me Clayton. I just finished watching episode 7 of Andor. So after the Aldhani heist last week, obviously there would be a lot of repercussions for that sort of thing. And thankfully this episode goes through quite a few of them, as the Imperial officers are not pleased at all, and they're planning to try and implement a bunch of new guidelines to prevent anything like that from happening again. For example, they decided to increase taxes to any and all sector that goes in any partisan activity, and they decided to crack down on any festival or celebration that could hide any rebel activity. On top of that, it seems that some of the rebels are aware that Cassian might end up getting too deep into this, that he's letting Luthen get into his head a little too much, and that Luthen, while he might have good intentions, might not be the best person to trust. I like that. I like how it shows that while Luthen's intentions are good, sometimes he might go too far and he might not consider every ramification. On top of that, Cassian's homeworld is now swarming with troopers, as the as they basically have been cracking down on anyone trying to take advantage of the Aldhani heist to kickstart more rebellious actions. It really does show how totalitarian dictatorships like the Empire would respond to any rebel activity by cracking down on anything that could even resemble rebel activity and eliminating any dissent possible in any place that it could possibly happen. It just makes the world feel bleak, but at the same time a realistic response to any shot against the Empire that ended up catching them off guard. On top of that, I like Sergeant Miro as an antagonist. She happens to work really well on the political sphere of the Empire, and she actually gains a new sector because of that. I I initially found myself kind of bored with her scenes throughout the first 6 episodes, but now I'm sort of getting into them a bit more. I can see what they're going for with her as a side antagonist, though I don't know exactly how they're gonna finish her story up. On top of that, we see that Cassian has gone under a new identity and has gone to a new planet after he's unable to stay at his homeworld. But trying to act like a tourist only lasts for so long before he's captured again, this time by Imperial droids. This this droid, in fact, being very similar to K2SO. So I'm thinking, is this the arc where he's going to reprogram an Imperial droid and K2SO is going to show up and Alan Tudyk may come back to voice him? If that's the case, then I hope so, because I do remember K2SO being one of the more entertaining characters in Rogue One, and I do think that having him on board would help this make the season even better than it already is. But I'm glad that the series took its time to get to this point, since now it feels like all the scenes that came beforehand are a lot more meaningful now. That the episodes are building and building on each other naturally as opposed to feeling rushed through, and that the world building feels a lot more lived in and natural as opposed to feeling like a missed opportunity. So yeah, this is basically a fallout for the last arc as well as the beginning of a new one, and in that respect, this episode does a pretty good job. And I'm interested in seeing how the rest of the season goes now that the pacing and the characterization is done rather well here. So, see you next time.